Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much again for joining me for another episode of Live, a Living Brand Live, as I like to call it that, right here on the She Is Still Dope network, the first network created for purpose driven women. I'm so happy to be here with you tonight. As you know, we started off this month of September kicking off this new show at this time right here every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we've had a myriad of different just exciting things happen. First of all, our first week we had the president, C.S. Bailey, and of course I've had my other phenomenal guests. And it's just exciting to once again be here with you. I know a lot has happened. It's been a full day for most of us, but I want you to take the time right now to just relax. Tell a friend right now, ping someone. I know if you were in Clubhouse, we call it pinging, but you could actually text someone. You could actually message someone. You can ping someone because they don't want to miss tonight's episode as I prepare to introduce my guest. So, once again, you are watching, once again, a living brand where we are breathing life back into your brand. And of course, like no other episode that you've seen tonight, is just another example of what it is to be a living brand, and as some would possibly even say, a living testament or a living testimony based on all the things we are able to come. So at this time, I'm going to bring on my guest. My guest tonight is Andrea Thompson. Welcome to the show, Andrea.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me, Felicia. I appreciate you.
You glowing over there. How are you? I see the light. Is that the lighting or the light? Or a little bit of both?
It's the light of God. I'm praying it is the light of God.
I know it is. I know he's shining on you. So, welcome to a Living Brands show. I'm just excited to have you as a guest tonight because there is so much that this young lady, young woman has just been a light about, as far as just we're talking about the light, but even her light, she's actually right here in the city of Chicago where I am. And when I think about what she's doing and how she's been able to navigate, even in the short time we've known each other, I think it's been probably like since I think 2018 now, if I'm not mistaken. 2018.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
we met around 2018, and all I can just see is this very fiery person who's very energetic and just has such a passion for people, for life, and for community. So what I wanted to do tonight is I want to let her talk about her new book project. For those who do not know, Andrea is an entrepreneur. She's also an author, and I know she, in times past, has focused on even bringing the brands of others alive through PR and just social media management. But tonight, the light is shining on her. So, Andrea is the newest author of the book, The Audacity of Overcoming. If y'all don't know, I have my copy right here. It is such a beautiful book and book cover. And just to know just a little bit about her story, you're going to grow to love her, and just know that it is not one thing that brought her to this point in her life, but it's been a myriad of different steps. So, Andrea, I want you to take the time first just to tell us a little bit about who you are tonight, and then we'll go on into talking more about your new book project.
Okay, great. So, as stated, my name is Andrea Thompson. I am an entrepreneur, a marketing strategist. I interestingly started becoming an entrepreneur midway through law school. I found my marketing business to be a lot more intriguing and interesting than the cases I was reviewing in law school. So, shortly thereafter, I decided to leave law school and to focus on full time entrepreneurship. And it's been a journey ever since. I love writing. Writing and words are my thing, and so I've used my skill set with words to be able to communicate on behalf of brand owners. So whether that's content that I'm writing for their website, for their social media posts, for their speeches or their press releases or their pitch kits, I have a fond handle on words and how they represent a brand's presence. So that's
Absolutely.
what I do.
And you do it so well. And what I want to say, she's making probably a little light of it, but this woman is everywhere. When I say everywhere, I was thinking about Andrea. Even my mind went straight to the pandemic. You all know what we've all had to face as business owners, but her advocacy for not just businesses, but small businesses, and particularly Black owned businesses, was second to none. I mean, this woman literally went across the city and the suburbs just to deliver signs for us to actually, she actually delivered one to my business just to put in the window so people could understand, the value and the fact that we want to keep these businesses open. We want to keep these businesses safe. And just everything she does it with all her might. So I want to thank you, Andrea. I've already thanked you publicly and privately, but just the fact that she just really has a passion for people. It's not about fame and fortune. You could just see her love and desire to see others succeed. But with that said, let's go ahead and fast forward. So your entrepreneurship.
You can't fast forward past that though, Felicia. That was like that was meaty right there. Wait.
How do you feel about that? I mean, I know others have
I
wanted to
yeah,
speak.
I gotta acknowledge you as well. The pandemic was, and we're still in it. So I think sometimes when we talk about it, it's like a drag down, but I think we're in a much better position than we were at the very beginning. And I know that it hit a lot of entrepreneurs very hard, especially restaurants. You're in the restaurant industry. You had to close down for some time. We were concerned about the civil unrest and the looting, and we all experienced the emotional strain that the death of George Floyd made us feel. And so I appreciate you all, and you specifically, because I think at that point I could have just, because I was dealing with so much as we all were personally and professionally, I could have just ducked my head under the covers and just shut myself off and really went into isolation. But
Mm-hmm.
I knew that wouldn't have been in the best interest of my emotional or mental health. And so I really felt that coming together with the community and being of assistance and being of service, and talking about and sharing the stories of how can I pivot during this, or what's an alternate way that I can, it really helped me to put my skill set to use and to be encouraged and inspired by you all too. So thank you.
Yes, and even at that time, I remember, and I know you are, and you have an even strong passion for Bronzeville in particular, being a neighborhood that you actually grew up in. So it was just an easy way for us to just connect, even in that way. But I'll never forget that one Saturday afternoon. You were at an event down the street, and I ran into you because we had promised we would get together, and we just started sharing it. I just began to talk to you in the car, and and I know it was more than just a talk, but I felt like God was involved in that conversation, because I think that's where our communication continued to blossom, not knowing you were becoming an author as well. And I think that's what it was too. We were just talking about the aspect of writing a book and how much it is invested in it, and you were just really on the brink of it, and of course the encouragement was there, and I just really appreciate it. So I want to dig into this journey of authorship. And of course, I'm gonna tell y'all, if y'all are talking about marketing, I've never seen somebody that know how to market themselves. This woman is in every venue. I see this book sitting in every part of the city of Chicago, around the U.S. It's been on HBCU campuses. It's been on radio shows.
Planes, trains, and automobiles,
Okay, there
right?
you go. There you go. Planes, trains, and automobiles. Literally, there are photo ops with this book. But it's such a wonderful title. And I caught it right away. So for those who don't know, Andrea is also a pivot supporter, and just, I think, for lack of a term, a mentor. She's a mentor in her head, Michelle Obama. She just loves Michelle Obama. So when I saw the title, The Audacity of Overcoming, of course, I immediately thought of The Audacity of Hope. Our former president of the U.S. wrote that book, and I just thought it was such an awesome twist. But tell us a little bit about the journey to the audacity of overcoming, and we're going to dive into some of the content too.
I appreciate that question. I'm always very transparent with this question because I think it's very helpful to other people who want to share their story. I was not in love with this story at first. I did not want to divulge a lot of the details of my personal life. I didn't feel as though I had came far enough to write my life story, so to speak. I really wanted to write a book about marketing based on what my professional mentor told me, that my first book needed to be to establish myself as an expert in my lane. So I needed to make sure that I really focused on my skill set in my first book. However, I put a post up that was very transparent around domestic violence awareness, and it was about an experience in my teen years. And this post got so many likes, so almost 1,000 likes, a whole bunch of comments. And people kept saying, I can't wait to hear your story. I can't wait for your
Mhm.
book. And I was just kind of confused because I'm like, I never said I was writing a book about my story. Like,
Right.
but I think that's what the people wanted to hear from me. And I had to take some of my own advice and listen to my audience, what was engaging to them, what was intriguing for them. And I went back and forth because one thing I didn't want to do was make myself the domestic violence advocate and put myself in a box. While that is something that I contribute my time and my money and resources to, because I believe in the power of awareness and the freedom that comes with people escaping that situation. But
Right.
I didn't want to have it be where I would be called on for only that, because that was a piece
Cool.
of my story, but not the entirety of it. And so I wanted to be very intentional about weaving together these different experiences so that I could talk about business, so that I can talk about being a single mother, so that I could talk about attending a predominantly white institution and attending a historically Black college during Hurricane Katrina. So, I wanted to pull all of these together in a very organized way. And I can say in conclusion, I'm super grateful that I listened intuitively and I prayed about it, because had I tried to write a book about marketing, it would have been great. I have a whole bunch of marketing ideas. I have marketing ideas every day. I could watch TV and get an idea. So, that would have been great too, but it wouldn't have gave me the bandwidth to stick with it, because I was overcoming so much along with my colleagues who were overcoming so much during the pandemic. And so
Mhm.
it would have been very difficult for me to talk about this marketing book when really people were maybe more so focused on other things at that time.
Right. And I know your first chapter right out the gate is purpose. We can't get away from a purpose driven woman and clearly on a purpose driven network, a purpose driven woman network. But the title of the first chapter was Purpose Rooted in Pain. What were you thinking when you wrote this chapter?
Wow, purpose rooted in pain came to me because so much of what I've done that has turned out to be successful or beneficial to me and others
Mm-hmm.
has started off in a place of pain. It started off with me having to go through something to get to something,
Right.
and I could remember back long ago, even with going to college. I went off to New Orleans for the very first time, accepted a scholarship. And I didn't know much about New Orleans, but I knew that I had to leave Chicago in order for me to define success for myself and to be away from home and make it in a new place. And so everything that has been great in my life has started from a place of, I'm not sure about this. I'm not necessarily comfortable. I'm
Mhm.
uncomfortable. I'm in pain, but that pain had a promise attached to it. That pain had a purpose attached to it. I like to say that you can definitely be blessed in the valley. And so I think that the valley experiences has definitely led me to the victory moments.
That is so beautiful the way you said that, sounding just like a wordsmith over there. But with
Thank
that
you.
said, even if you're going to divulge a little bit about even your journey from pivoting, because of course, as you were saying in the beginning, your career you had in your, I know, and you talked about this before. I've heard you talk about a little bit in different spaces about you wanting to be a lawyer and ultimately finding your purpose. What was it? Because a lot of times, a lot of people may not even know. I took the LSAT. Everybody think if you can talk and you can debate a little bit and you love to communicate, maybe you need to be a lawyer. So I did consider that as one career at one time. But what was it that caused you to find what at what point did you find your purpose and you knew it wasn't just about the legal title or being the fancy title of being a lawyer? What was it?
That's a great question too. And it was very difficult initially because I've always wanted to be a lawyer. It's
Yeah.
literally since I was a kid. Probably I could remember back to being 8 or 9. I could remember being at St. Ambrose and always telling people I'm going to be a lawyer. Law and Order probably reinforced that. And my experience was seeing lawyers advocate for disadvantaged people, seeing them be the voice. However, I was told by one of my friend's younger brothers when I was a young lady, he said, "Why are you always studying?" I told him I want to be a lawyer. And he said, "Oh, you don't look like a lawyer. You look a secretary." And he said that lawyers were white men. And
Mm.
when I thought about that, I said, you know what? He's right. All of the lawyers that I've seen have been white men. So I was very intentional about finding Black lawyers, finding Black women lawyers. Judge Lauren Lake was the first Black woman lawyer that I found on the Ricky Lake Show. And so that inspired me to pursue a legal career because I know that the law is applicable to every part of society. However, when I got to law school, I had overcome so many obstacles. I had been accepted to an Ivy League law school, Notre Dame. I wasn't able to afford to attend. And when I met that financial obstacle,
Mhm.
it triggered me to say, okay, if finances are a barrier for me, I know it's a barrier for other students as well. And they have 2% of Black students at Notre Dame Law School. So I know that this is an issue for other people. So even though I didn't attend Notre Dame because there was a financial barrier that stopped me, I knew that I wanted to do something to contribute to a scholarship fund to change that for students like me. It wasn't until I went across country to Portland for a scholarship to attend law school that I started to realize that, the law does not escape the racism that's in our society.
Mhm.
um there's a lot of discrimination embedded in the legal system, and I had to make a decision before I even was exposed to the business aspect. I wanted to know for myself, am I okay with always having to fight? Because as a lawyer, I will always be in a fight for someone. And I felt like, I put this in the book. There's a quote from Color Purple that I love, one of my favorite movies. All my life I had to fight. And I was like, I
Wow.
want to choose something different. I want to choose something different. And that doesn't mean that I'm not still an advocate at heart, because that's something that, you have that in your heart. Is you're passionate about it. You're born to be an advocate, and you just learn the skills to advocate better. And so I knew I would still be an advocate, but I made the decision to not want to have that as my career every day. But I found Periscope. That was the beginning of it. I
Yeah.
found Periscope. This was before Facebook Live, before IG Live, and all of the other ones. And I initially came to Periscope because I wanted to find pastors, because Portland is a very racially homogenous city, and I couldn't find churches that I could connect with. And so I was on Periscope to connect with the pastors to get some of the word. And I quickly learned that this has changed the marketing game. This has changed the advertising game.
Yeah.
How we can click on a button and communicate and broadcast all across the country and internationally to places we've never even been. And I said, okay, this is something that's going to be serious. And I don't think that other people saw it initially. It was like, okay, you're going to leave law school to play on social media. Okay, it doesn't make sense. But I saw it as something that would be long term. And when the news started using social media, that's when I knew.
Mm. And for those who don't know, Periscope was what Facebook Live is now. Periscope, and actually Periscope, if I'm not mistaken, was laid to rest, for lack of a better term, on at the end of March of this year, because they but for those who don't know, it was basically what we do as Facebook Live. You were able to go on. That was a version on Twitter that actually allowed you to do in live broadcasts. And I know so many people, Andrea, that actually blew up, for lack of a better term. And I'm talking about business people, churches, just a number of people found a lot of followers in their business and their um, just the ability to have their community. That's the word I'm looking for,
Yeah.
through that particular social media platform. Okay, so fast forward. Now you're doing that. Now you're formulating customers and clients. What has helped keep you going? And then we're going to get to how you got to the book project.
What has kept me going for a lot of my entrepreneurial journey has been
Mhm.
my son and building a legacy for him. And when I talk about legacy, it's different for me now. I think before becoming an entrepreneur legacy was, okay, let me get this good job with this good title and have great benefits, because that's how
Yeah.
the dream was painted for me. But when I became an entrepreneur, it was more so, okay, what's the succession plan for this business, and how do I learn how to create a succession plan? How do I get a trust? How do I make sure that my son has a choice if he wants to work for someone or work in the family business when he gets of age? How do I make sure that this is something that will live beyond me, that will serve the community and the causes that I care about? How do I set this up to drive funds to a nonprofit organization that does the work that I care about? So that the questions became much more deep around legacy and my purpose and my why. And I think about my grandfather a lot when I talk about legacy, because he owned ice cream trucks. And I remember working on the ice cream trucks with him, and I've always wondered his intentions behind his lifespan to have something for us. And I think that he's positioning me now to kind of restart some things that he might have left off for the family. So I'm grateful for that experience. But the legacy is what keeps me going, my son.
That's awesome. So for those who are tuning in, you are watching A Living Brand Live. My special guest tonight is Andrea Thompson. She is the newly, I would say, appointed author. I would say anointed and appointed author of The Audacity of Overcoming, an amazing story of hope. And what I love about it is it's just a mixture. I had took some notes on here, but it's just a mixture of a little bit of everything. I like the way she put it about herself. So it says the audacity of overcoming is fueled by resilience and freedom through essays, a memoir, and actionable tips and tools to help you achieve your goals. The author takes audiences through her own journey. This author, Andrea, she's taking you through her own journey and path to discovery leading up to and including the pandemic. So it is just amazing once again that even in the midst of a pandemic, so many people have even found their purpose. So many people have pivoted to other things. So let's talk a little bit more about the book. I love this, and what I love about her book. So if you are looking for a good read, we're going to drop her link shortly. But long and short, just some of even the title alone, chapter 3, At Gunpoint, uncovered yet kept. And I love she's using scripture. So we are on She Is Still Dope. So the scripture she used with that, the Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit, Psalms 34 and 18. But this chapter, I want to hear a little bit more about this one, Andrea. Chapter 5, Deferred Dreams and Wooden Nickels. And of course, the scripture you put with that is one of my favorites, Romans 8:28, how all things work together for the good. Tell us, what is that? That's a real unique title. You defer, because I know it as an author too, every title has a story behind it. So tell us a
Yes.
little bit about what is that about, deferred dreams and wood nickels. Tell us about that.
Deferred dreams is really about my experience trying to get to law school.
Okay.
Like I said, my dream was to go to an Ivy League school. I got accepted into an Ivy League school of my choice, my top tier, my top choice actually. And 65,000 a year was the price tag then. I got no scholarships at all, and they told me when I expressed my situation, which I thought I had clarified in my personal statement,
Mm-hmm.
but they said, okay, we'll give you an extra couple of months to figure it out. And I was like, a couple of months, okay, that's not going to help me, but um, I realized that my dream was deferred. It was put on hold, but it wasn't stopped. It was a reroute that was necessary. And I went back to the workforce. I went back to being a manager at a car
Mm-hmm.
rental company. And I was back at Midway Airport. And my very first day back at work, a sea of Notre Dame fans filled the lobby to
Oh
go
wow.
to South Bend for a game, for a football game. And so I came into work after having to decline the offer to Notre Dame Law School and really feeling grateful to God for the ability to go back to work so quickly and to have a company car and a management job, especially at the age that I was. So I felt grateful, but I also felt not in alignment with my purpose. I felt
Mm-hmm.
like I had slightly failed. And I was a new mom as well. So coming out to a sea of Notre Dame fans, it was like, okay, I don't know what kind of trick this is, God, but my dream has been deferred. And how do I make sure that that dream doesn't die? That I'm not, 20 years later, still at this job talking about, well, I was going to go to Notre Dame, but, so I wanted to create my overcoming story by having my dream not be put on hold indefinitely, but have it to be a temporary reroute. And
That's
so that's where dream deferred comes from. My Southern grandma that I talk a lot about in the book, she used to always say, don't take wood nickels. She's given me so many sayings over the years that I'm probably going to
oh
do a
wow.
book just on the sayings from the South, from Arkansas or something. But
Your grandmama,
yeah, Arkansas.
you gotta be kidding me. My mom's from Arkansas. That's my grandma. Miss
Little Rock, Sagohatchee, Menifee.
So Little Rock, Dumas, Mitchellville. I have an uncle that I'm sorry, a cousin, should I say, that's the mayor down there right now, a little town called Mitchellville. So it's really amazing. I didn't know your family was from Arkansas. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I
I
know,
heard of Dumas.
and I know exactly, and of course Pine Bluff. That's my mom's path, the east side.
Yep.
But long
Yep.
and short, I hear you. Maybe we have to collaborate on that a little bit because I those sayings I'm always I tell even talking sometimes to young people. I said, y'all don't think fat meat is greasy. One thing she used to always ask me, when you gonna cut that cake? I'm like, Grandma, what are you talking about? It's just so many so many things that they had, and it was just so valuable. Even my grandma, God rest her soul, we had such a good relationship, even though she was in Arkansas and I was here. I made a point to call her every single month. I had a chance to fly down and take her on a first experience on the plane in her 80s. I flew down and picked her up in Little Rock, and we flew back together, and she was able to go back on her own. So just a great symmetry there. So I love, but I do love what you talked about. Just the fact that even though our dreams can be deferred, they don't have to be denied. So we want to even encourage the viewers tonight to know you don't have to give up no matter what. And I know that's what our symmetry is too, the resilience. I know you were talking about that in the book as well. But I always talks about resilience. When I wrote this chapter, it was called "Be Bold, Be Resilient, Be Great, Be You." When I wrote this chapter in this anthology before I wrote my project too. But I love that part of you, and just this whole book. So if you're looking for encouragement, if you're looking for just one miracle after another, and I love the way you put it. I took it in my notes. How clues for you left clues for the overcomers, in here, and just the ability, the power of just unwavering faith. So this is definitely the type of read that anyone at this time, as you're going into, Friday's going to be the fourth quarter of the year for 2021, and we're all, now we got to wrap it up. Okay, what is it that you want to achieve? But if you need that hope and understanding, even now, knowing a lot of people in the pandemic, they have lost hope. Some people have just lost their ability to dream, but knowing that even though your dreams are deferred, you can still hope again. But let's fast forward, because there's some more meat up in here. I know we got to talk about meeting Michelle Obama. Yet this chapter called "Yes, the Mrs. Michelle Robinson Obama." So when I thought about lawyers, that had to be the epitome, right, of a lawyer too. That was sort of like a quasi role model for you. But tell us about your meetings. I know this is a big part of your life and a big part of this project. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I'm also from the South Side, Bronzeville, neighboring to Hyde Park.
Oh,
I had some interesting experiences around the Obama campaign. I got to volunteer in several states. We even organized a voter registration drive in Bronzeville, my family and I, on 47th and Cottage Grove. During that time, we had a tragic experience happen while we were registering people to vote. And I don't want to divulge too much of the story, but something happened on that corner where someone lost their life.
yeah,
And it really made me be even more so involved in the campaign, because I felt that at that time, Obama was really championing for the change that we needed to see, especially in communities like my own. And specifically for young people. I wasn't a mom yet, but I always had a heart for young people. And so I remember seeing that young man and knowing that we really needed change desperately. And it made me start to travel to other states and campaign for him. I even drove to the inauguration by myself, which my grandmother was not happy about. She swore that I needed a man to go on the road with me. And I went by myself against her advice, and drove all the way from Chicago to the Capitol. And I went to the second inauguration, and I remember the pride that I felt as a future law student, the first inauguration, and a struggling law student, the second one. I remember the pride that I felt seeing her wave in her light green coat for the first time and her gray coat for the second time when she had the veins. And so it was just really an inspiration, because I know that there are many obstacles when you attend a predominantly white institution as a
yeah,
Black woman. And she shared some of those in her story of becoming. And so it really inspired me that it's possible. And I ended up meeting her just because I was very audacious in my pursuit
right.
of meeting her. I'll just say that.
I love it. On page 209, y'all can't see it, but she's actually a picture right there with Michelle. And of course, and this is like the one I love, where you crying and she's hugging you, So it's
I love that picture, but it's also like a rough reminder for me. It's like,
wow.
when you get the opportunity, don't freeze up, because that's what I did. And she was so generous and nice about it, because I thought I was going to try to shoot out a quick question, and I had everything ready to go. And when she stepped up to me, I completely lost everything I thought I was going to say. And she just reached out her hands to hug me. And so, yeah, I didn't get to say much, but I did. I did cry and share a moment.
But that happened to me. I don't know if you know the story, but I had a chance to meet President Barack Obama over at Gary college prep. Once again, it was the young people's event for the since he's left his presidency, and of course created the foundation. So I was there volunteering, just like we help people all the time. And my friend, she was working on her PhD, and her organization was invited, about 20 organizations, my block, my hood, my city, the Chicago Public Library, Donda's house at the time. I mean, it was just like we were just there to be vendors. So my friend was like, well, do you want to just, I can't be here, I got to go to Michigan, would you like to just, I was like, yeah, I'll cover for you, definitely. You need this exposure, not knowing that President Obama was going to come that night. So I totally relate, not knowing what so we literally had gotten there at 8 a.m. The vendors carousel was at 12, and they told us to stay to 5 for debriefing. Who does that? So one group left, and I know they hate they left, but they knew all the time. They didn't tell us that President Obama was going to be coming, and lo and behold, we're all in this room thinking we're debriefing. They're like, "Oh, we got to get somebody," and here he comes. So I know exactly what you mean, and that was my dream come true, because I said I wanted to meet him live, and what was so cool, he actually shook our hands one by one, thanked us. It was just crazy. And like you said, my thing was, though, Andrea, I'm thinking, okay, he came in that door, he's gonna come around this way. He beeline straight to the opposite. So I couldn't get my phone. It was just like, oh my God. So you don't have to feel bad. No, don't feel bad about it. But it's just great to even have those moments. So I mean, who gets to meet uh, Michelle Obama and President Obama, in real life? And shout out to the Obamas. Let's not forget they who actually came to Chicago to actually break the ground yesterday for the Obama Presidential Library. I'm not sure if you were a part of that event, but
I wasn't. I'm asking all my colleagues, why didn't I get the
you know
call
what?
on that line?
You know what? I promise you, I sent an email over the weekend. It just didn't come together like I thought, but it's always great to have them in the city. But even though as we start to wrap it up, what is your goal ultimately with the book project? Tell us what you have going on with it, and what are your plans for the book? I know you, like you said, you've been on college campuses with it. I know you've been spreading the word. But what is it that you want people to know and walk away with and what is your ultimate goal? What are your plans right now for the balance
That's
of
such
this
a
year?
great question. And I'm going to try to be as concise as possible. But there's
Okay.
definitely big plans and a big movement attached to the Little Red Book, as we like to call it. Um, I didn't want to just put out another book that would talk about me, and I know that's contradictory to what it may seem like, because my image is on the cover of the book, which initially I didn't want. But after talking with my marketing team, we made a decision to put me on the cover, because I think part of the audacity is walking in authority and saying, this is me, this is mine. I'm not hiding who I am. I love my natural hair. I love my brown skin. I love my curves. I love me. And so you have to embrace yourself. That's part of the audacity. And so that's why I put my image on the cover. But I want people to know that it's not just about me and my story.
Right.
It's about me having the ability to share other stories, other audacious stories from other overcomers, because there may be something that someone else has overcome that they can explain directly to a person who's having that same challenge. So someone, for example, who hasn't gone through domestic violence wouldn't probably have the same reach or the same impact when they're trying to inspire someone else as someone who has that lived experience. And so the podcast is named after the book that we're going to be launching and having our first lineup. Thank you so much.
Yay!
Super excited about it. It gives me the opportunity to not only share some of the overcoming stories from people who are quoted in the book, but also other people who I've worked with in the community, and other people that have amazing stories of overcoming illnesses, overcoming all kind of situations with relation to business. And so it just really gives us a lens of the other side of the story, because in working with brands so much, I see that we put the fancy pictures up, and everything's glowing and growing, and the seeds that we
Right.
planted are all, flourishing. But you have to sometimes go under the surface, go behind the scenes, and say, okay, well, what did it look like when it wasn't so great? And how did you get to
Absolutely.
this point? And how did you push it to the next point? And I really want to give people a glimpse of behind the scenes so they can know that, it's not always perfect, but it's always purposeful. And if you know that, then you can not only go through, but you can also grow through the experience as well. And so that's the purpose for the book. More specifically, I want to make sure that I answer your question because there are 4 points to the book. I wanted to do a give back component with the book. So a portion of the proceeds goes to these 4 areas. We do domestic violence prevention. And that's not me creating a nonprofit. That's me servicing organizations that already do the work that already exist. So every holiday season, we give back to a domestic violence shelter. I have a chapter in there where I talk about my connection to that domestic violence resource center, as well as the shelter. I also give back to youth empowerment because I have a son and I've realized how difficult it is for mompreneurs, I like to call them, to especially mompreneurs of young boys, to make sure that they're providing the right resources for their sons to really grow up and be strong men. And so youth empowerment is a part of it as well, and mental health resources, educational and entrepreneurial resources. So those 4 pillars are the areas that I intend to serve and give back a portion of the proceeds from the book, as well as volunteer with my time. And so I hope that you guys will stay on the course because it's a lot in store for the Little Red Book.
I'm so excited about your book and even the podcast. When and it's launching when? Tell us the date.
International Podcast Day is when we drop the whole lineup. We did a teaser of our first guest, Miss
Mhm.
Marquis Lemons Ryle, but we have some incredible people.
Yes.
Yes, incredible people. We also gave away a scholarship to Spelman. We're going to another HBCU campus and interviewing the president of the school there and giving out a scholarship there. So it's definitely a lot in store, and we're looking forward to traveling more, even more than we have been safely. And
Yes.
so, yeah, we got some holiday stuff coming out, a lot of exciting stuff.
It's exciting for those who are podcasters out there. Tomorrow is International Podcast Day around the world. So if you want to do use that hashtag. So I'm like, I got to get her on to talk about the new podcast and of course the book itself because we've been talking about it. And I wanted to bring you here. I thought it was the best time and the most appropriate time as we are embarking upon the fall. So once again, please reach out. And I've seen it. If we could put it up one more time, The Audacity of Overcoming, author Andrea Thompson, just an amazing person. Not just and as you can hear her level of just insight and just commitment, and it just comes across so well. Just with her, like I said, ability to just be in the mix and always in the know. And we talk quite often. I'm okay. She reminds me of myself at one point because I was always that person plugged in to the city and what's going on. But if you want to be in the know in Chicago, we got to get with Andrea. I have to stay caught up on everything with her. But I appreciate meeting the mark as far as just having you just share your story, having you meet the mark of being courageous as a young woman, not holding back, someone that's going all out to be a living brand, a living, breathing brand. And even when you were describing your podcast, once again, that's the purpose of this show, just to share stories of hope so individuals can hear and see, guess what? I'm just like you. We all are connected, whether we realize it or not, in more ways than we realize or not. So, do you have any final thoughts, words of wisdom tonight on being a living brand?
I put in the book some Audacity affirmations, and I
Okay.
think that's the part where I really got to connect with people beyond just telling my story. So at the end of each chapter, there are connection clues. There's an Audacity affirmation. I really just want to encourage people to tap into the affirmations because you have to affirm yourself. Society may not say the best things about you, they may not always embrace you, they might sometimes reject you. But when you affirm yourself, when you believe in and love yourself, you're truly operating with the spirit of the Audacity. So I hope that you'll follow the movement and be on the lookout for what we'll do next because I'm not done. I done some crazy
Oh,
marketing stuff, but I got all kind of marketing stuff coming
I,
up. I can't
know.
even tell y'all about it.
I know. We just can't wait. We sitting in awe. We just can't wait. I think someone told you they want you to actually do a class on how to market a book because we are seeing you everywhere, especially.
That's coming too.
I know it's coming. And once again, I really appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being who you are. I'm one of your supporters. Thank you for supporting me and my brother and even beyond the restaurant, just all the things we've had to do. and see at up to this at this time of knowing each other. So I really appreciate you, and I'm glad you were able to be here tonight. And I'm so happy. So once again, please get your copy today of The Audacity of Overcoming. Don't forget to order your copy as we're coming upon the holiday season. And follow Andrea. Tell us everywhere they can follow you on social media. What are your handles?
Sure. On IG, Andrea is the plug. You can also find the book Facebook page, The Audacity of Overcoming. I also have a business page on Facebook. If my personal page is full, Andrea M. Thompson across the board. Andrea is the plug across the board. You can find me. And I just want to thank you, Felicia, because I'm thinking of ways to bridge the Audacity book with the chicken, and we could do an Audacity snack pack, and I'll come over there with my books. Yeah, because I can connect with the chicken too.
we're gonna talk, we're gonna go beyond the chicken though. I'm gonna call you. I gotta share some things, but we're gonna go beyond the chicken.
Okay, cool. And I know you know how to cook too, so it's 2 recipes in the back of the book. Check them out.
And she has another. For those who don't know, she has a business called another little business called the Content Kitchen, where we talk about real life and she's cooking food and bringing real folks online. So she's doing a lot of different things. The Legacy Awards was a beautiful event as well. Just so
Yeah,
many.
shout out to WDB. That's WDB's signature event. We didn't get to have it this year,
It was
but
fun.
hopefully Kiana Barber will bring it back next year.
Yeah, we appreciate you for being here. So I'll be in touch with you. Thank you so much for being on the Living Brand tonight.
I'm looking forward to it. Have a great evening.
Okay, have a good one. See you
Bye
soon.
bye.
Bye bye. So thank you all again for joining me for the show. I hope you enjoyed my guest, Andrea Thompson. Just a wonderful soul. Once again, the fact that this book is just such nuggets of faith, walks of faith for those who just need that boost of encouragement. So it's just, once again, a mixture of stories of hope, of essays, and once again, even the word of God is in this book. So I really love it. And once again, I want you to support her. Also, I want you to continue to support this show. Please, even tonight, if you got something out of it, I want you to write in the comments, share for some, I'm not able to see it right now while I'm here. But once again, I will go back and acknowledge whoever wrote something. But definitely always share your feedback. You can inbox me. And once again, follow me everywhere at A Living Brand. So once again, there are so many exciting things in the works. I want you to stay tuned because in October, we are going to be giving some things away. And also there's a mini course that's coming for A Living Brand. And as I've already alluded to, just there's the podcast. Actually, for those who know, I do have a podcast already, but we're going to be making a pivot. Right now, it's a Purpose Driven Woman podcast, but it will be pivoting and launching soon too. But we want you to just plug in right here on She Is Still Dope. Don't forget also to support the community. Please like and follow the She Is Still Dope page. There's so many things on the horizons. We want to unify women. We want to support one another. And as I always like to think about She Is Still Dope, it's just so many different opportunities to be enlightened. And so, of course, my focus is personal brand development. But just make sure you like the page and join in the membership as well, to stay abreast of what's all happening with me and all of the other hosts. So once again, A Living Brand on Instagram. Follow me at A Living Brand on Facebook. Please like that page, and also follow me everywhere, just everywhere, A Living Brand. We are going to have some things coming up soon with YouTube, as well as at some point I'm gonna get on TikTok. Somebody got to help me with TikTok, but I'm gonna get on TikTok at some point. But once again, I'm so happy you were here tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you got something out of the content. And once again, I only know what you're able to share with me, so please share on the comment feed. Also, hello at alivingbrand.com, and also the website, alivingbrand.com. So once again, thank you for being here, and we will look forward to seeing you every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on She Is Still Dope, the She Is Still Dope Network, the first network created for purpose-driven women. Thank you so much to the president for tuning in tonight, and thank you to all the ladies that commented. We really appreciate you being here. God bless you, and we'll see you next time.